I wish I could have shared more with her, but I'm glad I got to share that.
Robyn Dobbins used metabolic therapies, including a ketogenic diet, to put her bipolar II disorder into remission. Now, as the founder of Harbinger of Health and the host of Less of Me Success Stories, she inspires others on their own health journeys. Her incredible transformation is featured in the upcoming film, The Cholesterol Code. Robyn was recently honored with a Metabolic Mind Fresh Start Award in recognition of her dedication, resilience, and the immense effort it took to reclaim her mental health. This award will empower her to pursue new goals now that she is well. I recently sat down with Robyn to discuss the metabolic interventions that helped her improve both her physical and mental health as part of our new THINK+SMART framework. She also shared an incredibly moving personal story about what receiving the Fresh Start Award meant to her.
I'm just so extremely thankful for being a recipient of the Fresh Start Award and very honored to be with the other 9 recipients of this inaugural award. I have spoken about this very recently, that people don't understand how when you are so mentally ill that you can't hold down a job, that there's just very large gaps in your life. And in a time where I should have perhaps had a career or been continuing my education so that I could look forward to some sort of job, I was unable to do that. So my family has been supported on one income for over 20 years, and I'm very behind. But because I received this Fresh Start Award, I'm able to actually have an idea, actually have a goal, and actually have some backing to help support me achieve that goal. And that's just not something I ever thought would be possible. And I really feel like just the concept of coming up with the idea of having this award really recognizes the transition that we have to go through when we're coming out of being so just ill, just this like blank space in life. Like there's decades of blank space that most people wouldn't understand. It feels validating to know that Metabolic Mind, the Bazooki group, they do understand and they do give us this opportunity. And I'm just very grateful. Not something that I've ever shared before is my relationship with my parents, and I'm not saying that my relationship was poor by any stretch, but my mom just didn't ever believe that I had any sort of mental illness whatsoever, and it was really hard to talk to her about it. So when I was first diagnosed, I was very open about it because I wanted people to know that people with bipolar disorder aren't the people that the news media wants to say. Like there's other people with bipolar disorder that aren't making the news for some sort of traumatic event. And so I was open about it then. And my mom would say, you don't have a mental illness. It's all in your head. These are common ways that people deal with that information. And I know that, but it still hurt. And then I come out of a depression. I do all of this intense work and heal. And that wasn't recognized very much either. I know that I'm a completely different person than I was when I was, suffering with my brain. And I know she had to see it. It just kind of hurt that it was never fully recognized, and it's touching to know that, in those last weeks, I think she recognized all of it. She knew that I was able to drop everything that I was doing here and go home and spend 3 weeks with her while she was in the hospital. And then, culminating with receiving the award and her just recognizing it, really just for the first and only time recognizing how much work I had done, how much I had changed, and that it's important to me and that it wasn't important to her to share that with other people so that they would also know that they could have this kind of change in their own lives. I wish we could have had that conversation a lot sooner, but I'm glad that we were able to have the conversation when we did. It was really her last fully coherent day. And your blog post came out, and I read it out loud to her. And then she was telling, because the nurses come into the room and they ask because they want to know, their cognitive function when they're in the hospital. So they would ask, what's today? My mom would say, it's World Mental Health Day, and my daughter won an award. And it was just very special that we had to have that moment. And I wish I could have shared more with her, but I'm glad I got to share that.